We are back with episode 7. It's hard to believe it's already been 7 weeks of this. We started off really weak in episode 6 with a 2-2 record, and that came down just to misplays, which I will show you some of the notes I left there. But basically, a round 3 against the Centurion deck, like you guys saw in the clip. I put everything I had into an Excite-on-Night, didn't go well, and so then I just punted that game, which was super duper winnable, and then I ended up losing in game 3, which there never should have been in the first place, but that's fine. And then, of course, my nemesis, Goblin Bikers, took me out, so once again, gotta learn how to play that deck. There might actually be some Master Duel footage for this series coming up, because Goblin Bikers on Master Duel. And sure, you don't have the Fiendsmith stuff, but the Goblin Biker stuff, which is the stuff that has been actually beating me, and I'm not the most familiar with, is all on Master Duel. So I think I might pick up the deck on there, because it's pretty easy to build. I think it's like all supers and lower. Gonna try it out in the solo mode, maybe do it in some ranked, because I haven't been playing very much, so it's gonna be pretty easy, kind of smack around some people who don't know what they're doing, and just learn what these cards do, so that way in the future, when I play against in the TCG, I know what I'm doing. So then we would switch to the Fiendsmith deck. Night 2, 4-0, super quick matches overall, but I do think there was some opportunities there to look at my sequencing. I think it probably wasn't the best. That's going to happen because I'm just not as familiar with the deck, especially like the Fiendsmith version, so I think I could have probably done some cleaner plays there. So we'll have to look back at that, and then definitely siding patterns, those were rough. And I took note of that and kind of started to map out a little bit more of my side deck, but I think what we're going to do is we're going to pull some ideas from my old notes where I used to write down and map out deciding for every matchup. So I had like a basic in and out plan, and then I can just change it as I go. And then, of course, Tournament 3 was pretty solid. We ended up 3-1 again, this time only losing to Goblin Biker again, my nemesis. That was in round 2, but every other round we won pretty handedly. We ended up playing against Labyrinth, Sky Striker Malice, and Ryziel as well. So we got a good spread of knowledge there for the deck, and I think we're going to just make a couple of small changes. I'm not going to show you guys the full deck breakdown this time. I'll just show you some of the changes I'm making and why, and we'll see how it goes tonight. All right, so like I said, instead of doing a full deck profile, we're just going to go over the changes that I'm making for tonight. And I'm just going to highlight a couple of things I want to keep note of, too, for the future. One of those being the plugin. Plugin was really good last week, but that might have just been because I wasn't necessarily as comfortable with the deck. I did side it out a couple times. Another one is the second Lacrima again, to see if that continues to be really good. It ended up being really powerful, so I enjoyed it a lot. And then the other big thing I'm going to keep track of in the main deck is how the Bestials and Econs do together, because I noticed that in the majority of my games last week, if I saw any of these 6 cards, I felt like I was winning. And if I saw them together, I really felt like I was winning. So I think that these are definitely worth considering to continue to play in the future. And that actually has affected my side deck as well, which we'll get into in just a moment. And then in the extra deck, Chaos Angel, I'm not sure if it was as good as I made it out to be, or if it was just because I was kind of crutching on it because I wasn't totally familiar with the deck yet. The one duo drive is something I definitely felt was a problem, but the plugin kind of helped to fix that, as well as just understanding that I don't necessarily need to go to duo drive as much. And then Wave King High Caesar. This was a card I wasn't totally sold on, and I think I kind of just need to keep playing going forward. It might also just be a bit of bias there, but I definitely felt like I was winning with this card. And then the Agnum Day was the last card that I was really unsure about, but I think it's going to be a card that I keep playing. Now, for the side deck, there were some changes that were made. We'll go over the side deck a bit more in detail, and I'll just explain why I made the changes that I made. So first, you have the 3 Lancias, 3 Nibirus, 3 Ghost Reapers, and the Duster. All of that is staying the same. None of this has changed from last week. So I think all of these cards performed admirably. Lancia obviously is really only good into the Malice matchup. Nibiru is just ridiculous in general right now. And while I'm not typically a fan of it, I think that combining it with cards like the Bestials and Econ, it actually gets a lot of agency there, because it helps to, when paired with the Bestials and the Econs and things like that, it helps to force out negates, which then, or interactions, which then can become board breakers through those cards. Ghost Reaper Winter Series, I think, is just one of those really stand-alone good cards because it beats the Bestial Fiendsmith deck. It beats the Centurion decks that play Fiendsmith. If they do, it beats any Ryziel deck. It can be good against anything playing the Fiendsmith engine. So it just has so much widespread agency that it's really solid. And then it's also in place of the Mulch armies. Actually, the Perulias got taken out of the deck completely. I'm not even citing them anymore because I think that between the 3 Ghost Reaper Winter Cherries and the 3 Fuvalos, I should see enough like high impact hand traps that I should be fine. And the Duster's there obviously as a solid board breaker. So these cards were out. And then to replace these in particular, in total they were replaced by these, but the 2 cards that replaced them were actually 2 Triple Tactics Thrust. Because I wanted to have more searchability. So because of the Thrust, I'm only playing 1 D barrier, and then what replaced the other 2 D barriers in my set deck were 1 Different Dimension Ground and 1 Artifact Sanctum. So D barrier is obviously insane against pure Fiendsmith. That's obvious, and it's good against like Branded if anybody's playing that deck. That's known. However, the Fiendsmith deck doesn't lose to it, but it does lose to Different Dimension Ground. The Fiendsmith Ryziel deck really struggles into Different Dimension Ground heavily, whereas the regular Fiendsmith deck doesn't lose to, or it doesn't really lose to it as much, but it can, because if you shotgun this, you can get a ton of agency, whereas like you have to hold this, you can shotgun this into any matchup. This also is really solid into the Labyrinth deck. It's solid into the Malice deck in that once they've banished everything the first time, they don't want it to come back. So that's kind of the idea there. But it's mostly just that I want to have a replacement for Barrier. So in this case, I would cite in these 2 and these 2. So I actually end up having more copies effectively of access to a pseudo Barrier or a Barrier with the 2 Thrust and the 2 Different Dimension Grounds, as opposed to just the 3 Barriers. Sanctum is just to give me a 4th copy of Lancia when I go first. But then if I side in like this, for example, even though the Malice deck wants to banish cards, and like that's well known and documented, if they don't get a choice and they have to play around banishing cards a second time and they didn't see it coming, I think it can be problematic. We'll have to see. That's just a theory that I have that I'm probably totally wrong on, but I figured it's worth trying out. And then the Sanctum, which is the Sanctum plus the Thrusts, give you 6 copies of Lancia instead of just 3, which is really good because obviously you want to see as much as you can because it's a blowout against the deck. So we'll have to see how these goes. These could also be, this could be Daruma Karma Cannon. That would be really good into Ryziel as well. And it would be even better into Malice, so that might be worth considering for tomorrow or something. But for tonight, this is the side deck that we're going with. Let's see what we get. Round 1 is over, and that was a quick 0-2 to the channel nemesis Goblin Biker. Played against Nico, who just always beats me. Game 1, I lost pretty hard. Didn't open up with like much engine at all, and he just kind of quickly OTK'd me. My aim perm didn't get me anywhere, and then game 2, I started off with the Caesar play. So I opened up 4 Ryziel names and Econ. And so then when I went for the duo drive play with the Caesar, he ogred it, and I went for duo drive, and I activated duo drive to attach material instead of just doing the search, which then loses out to ogre because I can't at least just use the Caesar materials. So I misplayed really hard and got punished, which sucks. It's not the way we want to start off week 7. But we'll have to see how we do from here. 3 more rounds left. Hopefully we can pull out some good wins. Just picked up the W in round 2. We played against Dragon Link, which that's a bit of a blast from the past, but you know, it's not the worst call right now with like all the Fiendsmith stuff being played. But I ended up winning 2-1. Game 1, I simply could not keep up. I did not draw like anything to push through his hand traps, and he just opened up like double quick launch and just like went off. It was crazy. Game 2, he bricked like unreal. I think he drew all 3 Ash Blossoms. I'll have one of the, I think I'll probably have a clip of his hand there. It was not good. And then game 3, I simply just overwhelmed him really quickly and was a quick 2-1. He couldn't do too much. He did misplay because he had special summoned the Druid's Worm and had the Lubellion engrave and didn't try to, or he didn't special summon the Lubellion and then send off the Nibiru token, because the Nibiru token was 5,000 attack, because he had to Nibiru me, and luckily I'd gone Chaos Angel earlier in the turn, so my Chaos Angel wasn't tributed by the Nibiru. But 1-1, 2 rounds left. Hopefully we can pick up some prize packs. Just finished round 4. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get any footage of the last 2 rounds. It was pretty hectic to go with timing, but we ended up going 3-1 tonight. Round 3, I played against Fiendsmith Ryziel, and game 1 was really weird. So he goes first and actually passes. He drew 5 hand traps. So I got to play. He prevented my duo drive from searching, because that card's never going to resolve. And I attack for some marginal damage, pass turn. He goes, and I use some hand trap, I don't quite remember which one it was, and that let him use his talents. Talents took the duo drive, which then got to search, and he ended up doing 5,500 damage because I blocked some damage and prevented game. Then on the crackback, I managed to summon my own detonator after using Chaos Angel with Druid's Worm to get rid of cross and things like that. Ended up pulling out the win with game 1. Game 2 was pretty back and forth, and then game 3 was very quick. And then round 4, I played against Pure Ryziel. And game 1, I went first, won fairly quickly. Game 2, lost very quickly to a Nibiru. And then game 3, I went first again, resolved none of my effects basically, but I, because he shotgun Perulia and my hand was very weak, but I was able to do the Fiendsmith line because I drew Tract. So I ended with Caesar, and then I had a D-Barrier face down, which was enough to keep me alive, because obviously D-Barrier against Ryziel is very good. Then on the following turn, I made Chaos Angel, cleared his field of monsters, and OTK'd him. So we are 3-1. Also in the game 3 of round 3, Thrust into DDG did come up and actually won me that match, because his hand was all graveyard stuff. So he couldn't X, he couldn't Slayer, and he had to like banish his engraver to search, and it was just not a good time. So that was very good. So we are gonna definitely keep going with that card, and I think that was a huge, great call. All right, so just got back from locals. Ended up going 3-0-1, so I got first place. So I got 8 packs of Crossover Breakers and then some OTS packs. Didn't get to film any recaps during the tournament. Most of my matches were going pretty close to time, and one of them ended up in time. So I figured I'd just recap while we're opening the packs. We'll start with the Crossover Breakers because that's probably the coolest one. So round 1, I played against Pure Ryziel. I ended up going 2-0, where I managed to win with multiple pushes through his setup in game 1, and then game 2 used Chaos Angel and the Fiendsmith cards to play through pretty much, oh god, really? Well, I mean, that's cool, it's a cool CR, but not one of the ones we're looking for. So that was round 1. Round 2, I played against Skystriker Malice, won that one 2-0 as well. Game 1, I won by continually just throwing bodies at his setup until he ran out of stuff. And then game 2, I won while drawing 3 Ash Blossoms and out grinding through his D-Barrier, which is really cool. Although I did misplay really badly in game 2, where I activated Plugin. I had searched it off of Duo Drive. I ended up activating the plugin thinking that I had a Sword Ryziel in hand, but it's an Ash Blossom, and I just wasn't paying as close of attention as I should have. So that was my mistake, which was really frustrating to play that poorly, but I still ended up getting, the W in the end, but it was definitely something to note for the future. And hey, a White Rabbit, that's pretty good. So we got
Not great collector's rare, but it'll be one for the collection, and then a White Rabbit. And then round 3, I played against the mirror match, so it was Fiendsmith Ryziel, and we ended up drawing. And we drew because I didn't concede game 1 in a timely fashion, which is something I'm really struggling with Ryziel, is kind of knowing when to concede. I ended up conceding game 1 after 25 minutes, and I think I should have saved myself probably like 5 minutes of time, because it ended up coming down to game 3, and I lost in time. Darn it. Due to the, or we didn't lose in time. I ended up drawing because I just didn't have time to get, darn it, to a battle phase. So that was unfortunate. And then in round 4, I played against pure Ryziel, and I just kind of like ended up outgrinding and just being able to outpush him. So yeah, it was pretty solid overall. Oh, well, the coolest thing about the pure Ryziel match was in game 3, I actually activated Ghost Reaper Winter Cherries for duo drive, so he then had to go into detonator, and then on my turn, after I had used Druid's Worm, I ended up using another Ghost Reaper to hit his detonators in extra deck, so he only had the one detonator, and I just managed to push through, so that way even if he had managed to do anything else, I would have been able to outgrind him, because he had no more detonators and no duo drives. So that was really good. But yeah, it was a pretty solid night overall. You know, walking out with a solid Ultra and a pretty terrible collector's rare, but it was pretty cool. Let me know if you guys want to see more of this sort of stuff, because I think I'll probably do this tomorrow night too, where I just kind of open the packs as I do some review. It was kind of fun, and then you guys, you know, you all get to enjoy seeing some of the stuff that we just get to enjoy in the vlog itself. And I think that might be something worth considering going forward. But I'm going to re-sleeve the deck, maybe change out some cards in the side and extra, and we'll see what we do tomorrow. Okay, so once again, didn't get a chance to record in between any of my games, which is unfortunate. I did record one of the matches, though. It was round 1. It was the Fiendsmith Ryziel mirror match, which you guys will be seeing on the screen actually as we're opening these packs. I don't particularly remember round 1 because I haven't had a chance to watch back the footage, so I'll just let that play quietly. Just know that I won pretty handedly. Round 2, I played against a 6 Samurai deck. It was a super small local. It was only 3 rounds tonight, and I ended up losing game 1 because I was tardy. So I came in late and then won the next 2 games super quickly. His engine just wasn't as strong as the Fiendsmith engine and the Ryziel engine, so we won really quickly. And then round 3, I played against the Malice deck with Fiendsmith cards. Game 1, I just managed to outpush really hard, and he couldn't really do anything. He kind of fell apart really, like, mid-game. He just runs out of bodies and, you know, typical shenanigans there. And then game 2, I used Ghost Reaper Winter Cherries when he summoned Moon of the Closed Heaven. So then he gets stuck with a random Moon of the Closed Heaven that couldn't do anything. And then I just very quickly managed to win out from there. So we went undefeated. We got 7 booster packs of Crossover Breakers. We're just going to open these really quick and see what we get. Hopefully we can carry on the good luck from last night where we pulled a White Rabbit and... actually, I pulled that off screen, so I actually found an extra booster pack, and I pulled a White Rabbit. So my booster packs last night had White Rabbit and the Ryuji Collector's Rare. So hopefully we can continue that good luck. We got a white binder here, nothing too crazy. I pulled so many of each of these cards, it's insane. We're just going to flip through card by card. And Chessy Cat, so nothing too good there. I think I know for a fact we're almost out of Crossover Breakers at my locals, so soon I'll be opening up other packs. Got this guy, Kaiva was the one that I ended up getting a Collector's Rare of. And actually, I think I'll probably be going for Legendary Duelist to the Deep, so that way I can get 7th Ascension. Got a Lure, Plasma Hole, and Recoded Alive, Nahata, and an Ice Ryziel. So that's cool. Another good ultra rare there. But yeah, so as you guys can see in the gameplay footage, he wasn't too familiar with how to play the Fiendsmith Ryziel deck in comparison to myself. So there's some misplays that happened, which, with all these clips and stuff, let's be kind. Everyone's just there to have fun and learn. Mistakes are going to happen. Lord knows I make plenty of mistakes in game. And we talked about it afterwards so he could learn from his mistakes. And last pack, let's see what we get. Allure, Vishuda, and TB11. So that wasn't too great, but we did walk out with yet another Ice Ryziel, which is pretty cool. So I basically now have most of a second Ryziel deck just sitting in my binder. But that was episode 7. We wound up doing pretty well overall. Let me actually grab my notebook here and see if we can find some misplays that are worth noting. My misplays today, I think, were mostly just down to not having my side deck mapped out very well. Let's see. In tournament 1, I shouldn't have tried to attach with. Oh yes, round 1 of tournament 1, I tried to attach with Duo Drive, which typically plays around, other issues, and I lost Ogre. If I had just gone for the search instead, I think I would have been better off. And then round 2, my opponent misplayed with their Druis Worm. Round 3 wasn't anything to note, and round 4 wasn't anything to note with that one. And then I haven't finished up this section notes yet, but round 2 against Malice Sky Striker, I did misplay. I activated plug-in with no extra body, and that was a pretty bad misplay with that. And then, let's see, what was it after that? There was the mirror match, which I won pretty quickly. I think it was a pretty solid week. Lots of growth overall, which is good. And we'll have to see how episode 8 goes. Let me know down below if you guys like seeing the pack openings and gameplay footage and stuff like that, and even the review alongside the pack openings. I'd love to keep doing that if that's something you're interested in. And also, let me know if you guys want me to go to a regional. There's one in Hartford coming up next weekend. I'm not totally sold if I'm going to go yet. There's a small chance that I do, but if I do, I'd love to get some footage of, just kind of like the interactions with players, and also get some more regional game recaps and maybe learn from that as well. Let me know down below if you guys like that, and go ahead, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you in episode 8.